Okay, I found the right house and the seller accepted my offer. I can have my keys now, right? Nope, I'm sorry. There's still some work to be done. That's right. There are still some key tasks to be completed in the 8-step home buying process checklist. Let's check it out. Hi, I'm Mike Padlo, Realtor, serving Metro Detroit and Downriver Michigan. And welcome back to my channel, Detroit Area Homes. Okay, so now we're in step 6, in escrow, also known as under contract. In escrow is actually more like a status than it is a step. In fact, a lot of resources you'll see on the buying process will include escrow and final details as one big step. I've chosen to separate them for this video series. So in escrow, you're kind of in a holding pattern. Technically, after the offer is accepted, the buyer is the new owner of the property, but owner doesn't transfer from the seller to the buyer until after some important things happen. And so while that's going on, we're in a status called escrow, kind of a holding pattern, waiting for those things to clear so that we can move on to the closing. During this escrow status, there are basically 3 important processes that have to take place. As long as these processes don't turn up anything significantly negative about the sale of the property, then ownership can transfer without a problem. But if something does turn up during these processes, then that may enact some contingencies on the contract that automatically cancel it and make it void. So what's going on during this process? Well, that's the next step, final details, also known as due diligence. Let's see what that's all about. The first of these 3 important processes that has to take place during due diligence is executed by the title company. They're going to make sure that ownership can be transferred from the sellers to the buyers that are listed on the purchase agreement. The first thing they're going to check is chain of title. They're going to make sure that there are no previous owners or spouses or partners that are kind of hanging out in the background that are actually valid co-owners of the property and therefore could contest or should be involved in the transfer of ownership. The title company will also check to see if there are any heirs of deceased previous owners of the property that are due some amount of the proceeds from the sale. Another important detail the title company will check into is whether or not there are any liens against the property. Liens are legal terms for money owed, essentially, that are attached somehow to the property. There could be a lien on the property for various reasons. One reason might be for legal fees from past disputes over ownership of the property. Liens could also be there as a result of secondary or home equity loans that are still yet to be paid off. Liens can also be the result of money due to contractors that have made improvements on the property whose invoices have not yet been paid. Those debts need to be paid if there's a lien against the property for them before ownership can be transferred. So essentially, the title company's job is to make sure that there are no other legal owners of the property that are not represented on the current purchase agreement, and that there is no money owed against the property that would need to be paid out from the proceeds of the sale. Either of these things could stop a transfer of ownership. Okay, the next important thing that has to happen during the due diligence process or status is that the buyer will typically order a professional inspection of the property. This is not the same as a city inspection. This is a private inspection paid for by the buyer for a professional to come in and look the place over and make sure that there's nothing seriously wrong with the property that the buyer would not be willing to fix. Your professional inspector will spend several hours at the property checking everything from top to bottom. They'll look at plumbing, electrical, foundation, the roof, the attic, the garage. They'll look a lot closer than we do when we're just walking through the home. They'll check things like the amount and the condition of the insulation in the attic. In the plumbing system, they'll look for leaks and probably check the pressure of the water coming out of your spigots and your faucets. They'll look at the condition of electrical wiring, especially in older homes, and they'll look at the walls, the ceilings, and the and the foundation for any evidence of water or leakage or sagging or leaning walls that might be evidence of a problem with the structural integrity of the building. If you're interested in finding out more about what a home inspector looks for during an inspection, I have a link in the description you can click on to get more information. Okay, so the title company has done its job, and it appears that there's going to be no problem transferring ownership from the seller to the buyer. You've had your professional inspection, and the inspector didn't discover anything that you're concerned about. The last hurdle that has to be cleared is that there needs to be an appraisal done. If you're financing the property with a mortgage, then your mortgage company will send an appraiser out. If it's a cash sale, typically the buyer will have an appraisal done just to make sure that the market value jives with the purchase price that was agreed upon. As long as the appraisal comes in at or above the purchase price, we're good to go. The problem can arise when the appraisal comes in under the purchase price. In that case, especially if the property is being financed by through a mortgage company, then the mortgage company is not going to be willing to give you an amount of money to cover the financing for the purchase price, with one exception. If you offered an appraisal guarantee, that means if the appraisal comes in under the purchase price, you've agreed to pay a difference between the purchase price and the appraised value. But like I said, as long as the appraisal comes in at purchase price or higher, that's the last of the three important things that have to happen during the final details or due diligence step. Okay, so if all went well with the title search, your home inspection, and the appraisal, we're ready to move on to that long-awaited final step, the closing. To see what happens during the closing and in the days leading up to the closing, watch this video next. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I release new videos every week and you don't want to miss anything. Thanks for watching.